Today we're looking at a little bit of the minor flooding happening here in Sanford at the Sanford Dam. Before we get this video started, I want to thank all my patrons and for people supporting me both on Ko-fi as well as through PayPal. If you want to make a donation to the channel and help support me, there's links for those in the description down below. Also, I know there's been a lot of people watching the live camera here, and it's pretty impressive to see how fast this water came up. Usually after our spring thaw melt, when all the snow melts, we do have a little bit of flooding, but the snow has been pretty much melted here from the last week or two. So this was just a heavy storm that came through. It dumped quite a bit of water, and now it's a couple days later that water is flowing from the watersheds down into the Tittabawassee River. Also, I do want to mention that I do have the live camera installed up there on Secord Dam, so if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure you check that out. I think I have 6 live cameras now. We're only missing the one on Smallwood Dam now, so if anyone wants to go ahead and get this camera up and running, there is a link to the GoFundMe in the description down below as well. I know the Smallwood Lake Association was talking about donating the money for that, so if you want them to support those efforts, make sure you let them know as well. This is a great shot with the drone, probably only about 10-20 feet in altitude above the water, flying towards the north, and we are directly in front of the dam. You can see the water flowing over the top of those new weir spillways. Those spillways are not even visible anymore because of the amount of water flowing over the top of the spillways here at the Sanford Dam. Get a little bit closer here and we'll be able to see how much power there is in this water. A little bit of debris flowing over the top as well. The lake bed up here to the north was cut down, brush hogged over the last summer. So there's a lot of that brush that is starting to flow downstream as well. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that like the shot of actually flying through the spillways here where these Tanner gates used to be located. Now that we're on the north side of the dam, this used to be the old Sanford lake bed. So the water has came up quite a bit, but it's still not quite to where it used to be now. You can see the flood stage here. We're at 24.32 feet here at the Tittabawassee River at Sanford, and here's our reading down there in Midland. That looks like the crest is going to be 23.8 feet, and it was 23.43 feet at the time of me being out there filming. So they don't have that forecasted data in there yet for the Sanford location yet. I think they need to go ahead and gather a little bit more information before they're able to start forecasting where that crest will be. This area is where there used to be a little dike across and where the river path used to be flowing through. So it used to flow right through here. You can see that area where the sheet pile is up a little bit higher. And that's exactly where this river, the Tittabawassee River, used to be flowing through, where the earthen embankment ended up failing. So we can see the temporary bridge directly behind the sheet pile. That temporary bridge has been removed, but you can still see that there is the forms in place, that concrete foundation, abutments that bridge would sit on. The interim repairs are complete here at Sanford Dam, so they're working on getting the 100% construction plans submitted and approved, and I'll actually pop up the timeline here right now so you can see when that construction is anticipated to start, and that will be the final phase. After construction is complete, then they will be able to go ahead, instead of lowering the gates like you would with the Tanner gates, instead they're going to be using crest gates here. So they'll be able to raise those crest gates and allow Sanford Lake to refill once again. So I know there's a lot of people that cannot wait for that day to come. And I know there's a lot of people that watch my videos that also watch Juan Brown's out there in California. Pretty impressive seeing how the reservoirs in California have been getting close to, they will be getting topped off once the snow melt out of the mountains comes down. We have never had a problem really with drought here in Michigan over the last couple of years. This is usual for this time of year. Usually every year we do get a little bit of this minor flooding, and you might say a little bit of minor inundation of the front side of the dam. This area right here where that sand is used to be where the old Sanford boat launch is. And you can see the park is looking really great. There's a lot of, pavilions, and the baseball fields are starting to look a little green. A little bit of flooding over the roadway here, but this is an excellent example of what you can do with an area that sees flooding every spring. These baseball fields are usually used during the summertime, so shouldn't be too much flooding around that time of the year. But we'll fly down the Tittabawassee River, gaining altitude a little bit further, and we will go all the way up to 400 feet in altitude and see what things look like from the air. Again, I do want to reiterate that this is just minor flooding. Some people wouldn't even consider this any flooding for this area. It's nothing compared to the flooding that we saw a couple years ago when the dams failed. So up at 400 feet in altitude, you can see the whole park area here, and I'll actually pop up a picture of what the park will be looking like. They are just about ready to finish this up. Should be finishing in the springtime, which is right now. So it looks like they just have a couple more fields to hydro seed, put the grass seed down, and then maybe some of the back fencing behind the catcher's mound might need some fence installed there. Looks like there's a couple of those pavilion buildings that still need to be installed. Maybe some horseshoe pits that I'm seeing down there. So this will be a great area for many families to be able to come and, watch their kids play baseball and just hang out here in Sanford. Up here to the north of Sanford Dam, again, you can see the lakebed, how the river has crested and is flooding over into the lakebed portion. That roadway back in the background at the top of the screen is US 10. So that is our main highway that runs from kind of east to west here in Michigan. And again, you can see that Tittabawassee River all the way up there to the north. So we can see all of the live cameras on this watershed now. Up there at Secord Dam is the one that's furthest to the north. Smallwood Dam is just to the south of there. Then you run into the Tobacco River Dam and Edenville Dam. And then down here all the way at the southern tip is Sanford Dam. So if you look at the live cameras at Secord and Edenville Dam, you won't see much flooding going on there. You'll see that the river level is slightly raised and is almost to the edge of the river banks, but most of this you can see down here. Another great shot going this direction, flying from north to south through the spillways again. I do like the shot that I shared at the beginning of this video a little bit better than this one. You can see the rapids a little bit more from the opposite angle. But going this direction, you can see the Sanford Park in the background and the temporary bridge structure over there on the right-hand side. They did do a lot of cleanup in this river area this last year, digging out a lot of the sediment that was in the middle. I'm sure a lot of that sediment has washed away now with the amount of water that's flowing through here. And in this shot, I just wanted to show you, how raging the rapids are and the water is flowing through the Sanford Dam over the top of the Weir spillways. This is where the sill would be located, and you can't even see the sill any longer. So this is a shot up at 400 feet in altitude again, drone facing towards the south, just so that you can see how much flooding there kind of has been on the Sanford Lakebed. And again, you can see a little bit of that debris floating in the bottom right-hand corner. They did brush hog this entire area last summer, cut down a lot of the trees that were getting fairly tall. Some of those trees out there were 10, 12, 15 feet tall. So these needed to be cut down so that in the coming years, when these lakes are allowed to refill once again, we don't have huge trees to deal with. Right now, it's just kind of brush, easy to brush hog down. A couple more years, these trees would be upwards of probably 4 to 6 inches in diameter. A lot of these were cottonwoods out there, so they do grow very fast. For those of you watching my other vlogging channel where we are working on constructing our house, I am trying to stay within a year timeline of getting those videos edited. In the last video I posted, I actually showed the drywall getting flown in. So I think I only have about 5 videos left to edit. Some major projects, from installing a shed foundation and bringing in a new shed out by our pond, to installing a 2.5 acre irrigation system to then planting 2.5 acres of grass around our house, and also dealing with a lot of the water and actual hydraulic control around our house, because we do have a little bit of water issues where water pools, and we just needed to deal with getting that drained off of our property. This is a great shot of where that temporary bridge used to be located again, and maybe I'll go back and pick up some old pictures of when the bridge was installed and insert and overlay these over this current video. You can see why they installed all this riprap here though. This is to prevent erosion from happening along the steel sheet pile cutoff wall here. And it looks like it's doing its job pretty well. Up here over to the right hand side, you can see the water has not came up to that level yet. But up here on the northern side, there's a little bit more water on this side of the dam where the lake bed used to be, and where we can't even see that dike visible any longer. I'll actually probably pop up a picture of where that dike is from another photo that I took a while ago as well, and another shot of the riprap on this side of the sheet pile wall doing its job again, preventing that erosion from happening. If you've enjoyed this video and liked seeing this timely update of me getting a video edited and posted the same day that it was filmed, make sure you go down below, hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. There's plenty more updates to be coming, both a lot on Smallwood and Secord Dam this year. And until the next one, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below. As always, I just want to give a massive thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of your contribution to keeping this channel going. Thank you.